This is one of those topics where I need an icebreaker to get started. I need to ramble for a second so that I can kind of ease my way into this topic. So there it is. There's my little entry. The topic, as you can see from the title of this video, is about, if you've been through child abuse and done a good amount of healing and work, at what point does the pain stop? At what point do you decide to stop? So, abuse can take so many different forms, whether you had a parent who was addicted to drugs or alcohol, or if the abuse was control, manipulation, sexual abuse, physical abuse, verbal, or combination of all that, and many other things I'm not mentioning here. We take these wounds and these scars, and then we go into our adult life and we now have a mess because the behaviors and ways of coping with that abnormal situation now no longer work. So those reactions that we had were normal to an abnormal situation, but then when we're no longer in that situation as an adult, it makes a huge freaking mess. And our relationships no longer respond the way they were then. But all that we know is that we have this conditioned response, we have these triggers, and when anything approaches us that looks like that trauma we experienced in the past, if it looks like just a little hint, we're ready to pounce, and we got the gloves on, the wall is up, the shields are up, and we're ready to fight and defend ourselves, because no one is going to make us feel or do to us what was done before. And this is what happens. This is PTSD. So the problem becomes that this behavior, this conditioned response no longer serves us. In fact, it causes us pain. And now we have to do all this work to unlearn it and learn something new. And then there goes that opens the door for counseling, therapy, support groups, meditation, different kinds of spiritual practice, or whatever way you find helpful for your healing. And perhaps you've been doing this for years and years and decades, and working on yourself, and doing lots of introspection and soul searching and digging in and getting into the mud. And then it sort of, can take over. And as you know, the more you dig in, the more you find that needs fixing or feels like it needs healing or fixing. So at what point do you decide to kind of ease up on yourself? I thought about this a bit, and I thought it's kind of like, to me, like grief, going through the grieving process. So when you lose someone close to you, the grief can consume you for a long time. And as years go by, what I have found is that the grief and my relationship to it changes. It's still there. It's always there. And the sadness never really goes away, but it changes. The shape of it changes. The relationship to me or with it changes. The feelings, the intensity perhaps change. And now and then they spike and it hits me really hard. So I kind of thought that this is a really good way to look at healing from childhood trauma. At some point, it's good perhaps to choose and to consciously decide, I've done enough work, I've done enough, facing it, I haven't shied away from it, or, whatever the situation is for you. And, you've gone into it and felt it and grieved it and healed. And at some point you can say, it's okay to relax a little bit. It's okay to put the gloves down around people I trust and to take that risk. It's okay to not always be working on myself so hard. And that pain from the past, those memories will always be there, but perhaps with a little bit more space, perhaps with a little more objectivity, maybe even with forgiveness. And forgiveness is something that, you got to decide in your own time when it's right to do that. And that's a whole nother process. But when you get to that point, you've really let go and healed a lot if you're at that point. So let yourself, after you've done considerable work, give yourself that permission to change your relationship to that pain of the past, to change your identity, to change these associations, and I know this takes time, to finally let yourself enjoy life. Otherwise, it can be, especially if you're very sensitive to energy coming in, it can feel like you're just picking up all this energy and it's triggering you like crazy, and you go out in public and then you just want to retreat back into your house or be around just animals or just be in nature where you feel safe because of all this energy that has just been hitting you and all the feelings and the memories that it's bringing up in you. So sometimes, acknowledge and acknowledge those memories and those feelings that come up when triggers get pushed. But also let yourself have some space with, in relationship to those feelings. It's just it's another way of like freeing yourself. Give yourself that gift. I think it really is a gift that we can give ourselves. And I think it just takes conscious choice, and it takes practice. It's not like you suddenly wake up one morning and say, all right, I'm done, that's it. Or maybe you do say that, but life is going to present stuff, in your life that's going to push things, and you have to decide what to do and how to respond. So consciously make the choice, or if you find yourself making like a knee-jerk reaction and being defensive or getting ready to protect yourself when there really is no threat, just start to see it for what it is. And again, it's a process, okay? I hope that helps, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave it for me below the video. And like this video if you liked it. Please share and subscribe if you wish. I hope you do. Thank you so much for watching me and joining me. I will catch you next time.